Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football but pro wrestling tonight podcast we bring you each and every week. It is Tuesday. It is Pro Wrestling Weekly. A slimmed down version of the panel this week. We had a full panel last week, 5 of us. This week it's just myself and Sean, but we've plenty to get through, plenty to have a look at. Sean, how are you? How's your week?
My week's been very good, Niall. Thank you.
Good.
Hope yours has been too. And yeah, we're like the Diet Coke of panels. We went from 4 and now we've only 2, but we won't let that spoil the mood. Great to see you and looking forward to catching up. I think we have a good amount to get through. I think we had a pretty eventful week or a bit, so that'll be good.
There's a bit to get through. We will be taking a quick look back at Beach Break, getting your thoughts on that. We will have a look at Raw. We're going to have a look at Saturday night's main event. We're going to be talking about Money in the Bank. We have our usual selection of history and notable birthdays. And we're going to be talking about, obviously, Zoe Stark last night who had an injury really, really bad. So we'll briefly touch on that as well. And we'll also have a chat about the Shield, no less, but I'll keep you in suspense about that. But we'll kick off anyway. We'll kick off, I think, with Beach Break, will we?
Yeah,
because that's kind of the starting point. Before we do, though, Sean's in there. Big up Sean, who's chatting to me today on Instagram. Looking forward to R-Truth versus John Cena Saturday night's main event. Should be interesting. Aces after flicking in as well. Looking forward to watching Saturday night's main event and NXT Battleground and AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view this week.
Jesus. Is Battleground on Sunday? Or is it?
I think so, isn't it?
I was about to say there's no way they would counter program Saturday night's main event with NXT. That wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But lots of wrestling coming up this week, and also lots of football. It's the end of the season as well, so there's plenty to go through this week.
You'd want to have 7 different laptops or something to watch all of it, wouldn't you?
I have 3 and a TV and a tablet. Not bad. So I have 5 screens, and I can do a 4 split screen on the TV as well.
I can do 4 on my laptop, but I end up typically just watching 1 and falling asleep halfway through.
And Aces time was Sunday before Double or Nothing.
Yeah. Like, would they imagine how stupid they'd be to counter program their program with one of their other programs?
It wouldn't make much sense, would it? Let's take us back to Beach Break then. Give me your thoughts on it. I did call the figure 3 leg lock, stolen, I think, from Matt Cardona, I believe. Give us your thoughts. Run down through it.
I thought this is quite a good show. Reminded me of being on the beach, as in there was, parts that where you could relax, and then there's, you go into the water, and it's really nice, but then there's sand that's in your toes, and then you want to get off the beach, and your body's covered in sand, and you can't get it out, and then 2 hours later, the sand is still there. My point is, this show was, I would say mixed bag. It wasn't really. It was pretty consistently good. But the main event, it was very good. Well, it seems like just like the Judgment Day, who doesn't need new members. The Death Riders don't need new members, and they have new members, but we'll get to that. But we'll kick off with the opening tag match of Hangman Page and Will Ospreay, who, of course, are the finalists in the Men's Owen Hart Cup against the Don Callis family, Takeshita and Josh Alexander. Really, really enjoyed this match. An absolutely sizzling opener. No pun intended, to kick off Beach Break here. I think everyone looked really well. I think Hangman and Ospreay, despite clearly not liking each other, but realizing that they are opponents, there are going to be opponents in like a week, 2 weeks. Well, a week now. Back then it was like 2 or 3. Are going to have to face each other. They worked quite well as a team, but I think there was points where Takeshita and Josh Alexander worked better. Because I think the Don Callis family are probably the best well-oiled machine in AEW right now. And 2 guys who have to face each other in such a big match like Hangman and Ospreay are not going to get along particularly well. But I think it was a really good opener. I think the Don Callis family was the right choice to go over. You wouldn't normally hear me say that often. But it sets up, it makes the hype and the hype for Ospreay and Page on Sunday, a lot more real, and it gives it a lot more to look forward to. So no complaints there. God, Yeah, I think I actually hate more than yeet. It sounds like he's clearing his throat before he says it, but
Because he
yeah,
is.
yeah, 2 words. I think one word, yeet, would probably be better than.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's getting punched in the stomach while he's holding his
It's
breath.
nearly like LA Knight when he goes, yeah.
Yeah,
After everything he says, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Jesus,
absolutely.
but that
Yeah,
was no good opener here. I think.
I have to say, like it's four contrasting styles in there, and it
Mm.
really put on a really good match. To be honest, and I like that combination of Takeshita and Josh Alexander as well. Josh Alexander's a beast, like you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
and married well up with Takeshita as well. And then, as you said, the style of Will Ospreay and obviously the reverse of that, which is Hangman Page, very 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 interesting. But yeah, good kick
yeah.
off with. Then we
Styles
got
make fights. Styles
yeah,
make fights.
absolutely. And if you include most of the styles, you're basically going to come out with something, aren't you?
Yeah.
um, Ricochet versus Zach Gowen. I thought Zach Gowen was really good in this match.
Yeah, he looked great. I've always had time for Zach Gowen. He's very easy to cheer for compared to Ricochet and also in general. And I knew that he had wrestled. I know, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, he was on the Indies with Gregory Irons as the Handicapped Heroes. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
talk.
oh Jesus. Okay. I'll try to get back on track.
We'll come to that. We'll
yeah,
come to it.
but that is slightly alarming. Zach Gowen looked great. Looked like he had never stepped away at all. Maybe it's not the right word. That's not the right phrase. Excuse me. That he never stopped wrestling. I think that's better than saying he
never missed a step.
Missed a lot of steps.
Maybe.
Yeah, but no, he looked great. I was thinking to myself, I know Ricochet stole his leg, his prosthetic leg. So I was thinking, like, how's he going to get down to the ring? And I forgot that he used crutches sometimes. And I think I read that he actually preferred to wrestle with just the one leg, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. But he said apparently the prosthetic leg's too heavy. So him being on the floor and sprawling and trying to maybe not shoot a takedown, but jump up and hit a punch.
Probably creates a kind of an imbalance as well, because obviously you have your natural leg there, and obviously there would be a difference, either light or heavy or whatever it is. So it's going to throw you off slightly anyway, yeah.
At the very least, yeah. You'd think. But no, Zach Gowen looked absolutely incredible. I liked how his family got to see him. I think it went much better, than the last match that Zach Gowen had with his family at ringside, which was against Brock Lesnar at SmackDown all those years ago. Ricochet continues to be a really good foil for any babyface, but able to back it up. Zach Gowen didn't do himself any disservice. He fought till the end. That shooting star, even though we're not shooting, the shooting star, but the moonsault, I mean, even though he missed it, still looked incredible. I think if Zach Gowen, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have much issue at all if he was signed to a contract, whether it be with AEW or even WWE. But then WWE is Braun Breaker, so I have a feeling they'll roll back the years without Brock if to do that. But no, great to see Zach Gowen, and great for Ricochet to get a win in a fun match.
Yeah, absolutely. The Hurt Syndicate versus Top Flight, picking up the win, but then giving the thumbs up, all three, to MJF. An unlikely member I would have thought of the Hurt Syndicate. But
I don't think it's going to work because they said that the contract signing for him to actually be in it is Wednesday. So I think sooner rather than later, they're going to turn and they're going to demolish him. And I'm surprised. I thought the fourth member, and it could still happen, but I thought the fourth member would have been Cedric Alexander. And I think as of right now, he is a free agent, so technically there's nothing stopping him from getting signed. So we'll have to see.
The talk is that might be the lead into Double or Nothing.
Oh, okay.
That's the talk that was going around that I read today, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, so more than likely he's on his way. But I think this is a really fun segment. I like how MJF was hiding backstage. So he's pressuring them to bring him in, and he can't even face them. Yeah, like they have to find him instead of him coming out like a man. So does MJF join the Hurt Syndicate and get turned on? Or does he manipulate his way to the top of the Hurt Syndicate in terms of leadership and gradually kicks or turns on people. I was thinking that could be something they do with MJF, but then like with MJF and tag teams, it's always he gets turned on and he goes on a bitter X babyface run that doesn't really feel like a babyface just because he's too good as a heel. But we'll
it kind of feels like it has to be him who gets turned on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't imagine him sitting at the top of the Hurt Syndicate telling them, I can bring you to places that MVP couldn't even imagine. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And it's kind of like,
The Hurt Syndicate are intimidating as well. So it'd work much better if they did it to him rather than if he did it to them.
Yeah, that moment when he jumped on Bobby Lashley and Bobby just flung him off, man. He went flying like a lightweight, like he was mad.
He was confused, but the Hurt Syndicate top flight I thought was a good match. Not much of a challenge for the Hurt Syndicate, I don't think. That's often the case. I don't know if there's a team in the tag division that can touch them right now. It's certainly not top flight and absolutely not the Sons of Texas who are facing them on Sunday. Yeah, we'll have to see. But no, this was a good match, but I thought the segment after was much better and very interested to see how MJF's hopefully not short, but probably brief and painful career in the Hurt Syndicate goes. But no, this is very, very good.
Now MJF, he feels a bit lost. There's been a bit of a drop off from the heights of where he was, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It feels like nearly has that kind of, dare I say, nearly mid-card effect about it, which is crazy when you think about it.
Kind of, yeah. But then that stuff with Hangman he did like not too long ago was brilliant. Yeah. So I wouldn't say he's totally dropped off. And the fact he's still and the Hurt Syndicate are a big deal. They're the tag champions.
Yeah, true.
So it's not like he showed up in the, I don't know, had a match on Collision or something, or Ring of Honor even. You know, like he's still very much a part of the machine, so I don't know about that, but we'll have to see.
We shall see. Tony Storm getting pinned by Mina Shirakawa. Interesting. Pretty clean as well.
Yeah, quite clean. I wasn't expecting it to be as clean. I thought there'd be some shenanigans. Sky Blue made a return here. She looked great. AZM, I mean, she's always been tremendous. She looked really, really well here. I'm very excited to see her. Has she been signed? Am I thinking? Well, yeah, obviously she's been signed if she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has been signed. So that means she's here to stay. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else she can do. Now, Mina Shirakawa, if you remember, was Mariah May's best friend. So people are hinting that it's been the talk for a little while that Mariah May will be joining WWE. But with Mina being in this position now, they're teasing that she could possibly actually return to AEW instead of going to WWE. So we'll have to see where that goes. But this is a really good match. I really liked the pace of it, and also how everyone, no one looked out of place. It didn't feel like people were just waiting in 4 ways, especially at live wrestling. You can see everything. A lot of times you can see people just lying down, waiting for their spot, and then they run in. Yeah, happens a lot in OTT, especially when you're sitting ringside, like lads just lying down, like with one eye at the ring, making sure they're in time. But it didn't feel like that. It was really clean and a fun 4-way match. Multi-man and multi-women matches are always fun. It's very hard to mess them up. And AEW, I don't think have done that yet. Definitely didn't do it in this match, and it was a good win for Mina Shirakawa.
I wonder, is it the other way around? I wonder, are they pushing her now because it's a kind of a kicker to Mariah May potentially on the way out, going, well, here's your buddy now, and we're going to push her to the moon.
It's like bullseye. Have a look at what you could have won.
Yeah, this is what you could have won, kind of thing.
All she got is BFH.
Yeah, but it's nice. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I think, geez, if you drop Mariah May into that WWE hot pot, that'd be something interesting as well. We will talk about the women's division.
She'll definitely land on her feet wherever she goes, whether it's back to AEW or to WWE.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
No confidence that she won't.
Yeah. And then we got the main event, Jon Moxley versus Samoa Joe, steel cage match.
Would have fancied Joe win this, but obviously not. Now, we spoke, I think it was a segment like 2 weeks ago when we talked about TNA banning blood, like excessive bleeding. Oh yeah, there's good old Darby Allin. Now getting up is one thing, getting down is another thing. So, and he's not the first wrestler to go up Mount Everest. And not the first one to plant a flag was JBL.
That's right.
The second one to do it was El Grande Americano. So I don't think it's as big as a deal as people are making it out. But no, that's an incredible achievement. Shout out to Darby Allin. Hopefully he makes it home safe. I think he made it up at Mount Everest and he did a kickflip on the way up and broke a record. So it's good to be Darby Allin right now.
That's cool.
But I don't think people are into him beating Moxley. I think that's the direction that they're going. As Acer says here, AW All in Texas beats Moxley or returns after. I'm not sure. We'll have to see, but I don't see Moxley losing anytime soon. But as I was saying, I got carried away with Darby. We complained about blood, and we complained that AEW do it especially excessively. Like when you see Moxley
especially
bleeding,
him.
Yeah, when you see John Moxley bleed, you just like, oh, I can't believe he's bleeding again. But this is one of those times, and it could just be because I don't think he's done it in a while, where Moxley has bled, and it meant something. It actually added to the match. It didn't feel like just, oh yeah, it's Moxley, so he has to bleed because that's his deal. I think they both looked great. AEW, I think they have very, very strong cage matches historically, and I think they kept it up here. A fun main event. We talked about new people in the Death Riders. Gabe Kidd has aligned with John Moxley. I think that's a very interesting addition. I think they work well with each other. I think he's very anti-authoritarian, and he gives out a lot about AEW despite joining their biggest act in the company right now. That's not the point. Good to see Gabe Kidd. Great main event. Joe looked really, really good. I think he can kind of get lost in the shuffle. I say that about a lot of people. That's not necessarily Joe's fault. It's AEW's fault because their roster, they have a huge roster, but sometimes huge is too much. There's too many people. Not everyone can be featured every week, and they only have a finite amount of hours on TV. They don't have a finite amount of hours on pay-per-view. Babe Kid. Wearing a Newcastle. Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that. That's a bit strange. Maybe just supports Newcastle, or maybe it's the first one he had. But no, great match. Great way to end a very good TV special. In fairness, I will give AW the chops. This is a good TV special. And I was going to say interested to see where Moxley goes from here. I'm not really, but I'm interested to see where we develop from here.
Isn't it so weird that you can have a show like this that has a nice flow to it? It's 5 matches or whatever it is. Real easy for us to review. And then, who knows? We go into Double or Nothing and there's like 12 matches and it nearly needs its own show. And it's
in fairness,
all over the place.
I heard this argument about AEW. They don't do pay-per-views as often as WWE. So when there's a pay-per-view every month for WWE, they can kind of lose their mystique or lose their pomp and circumstance. But AEW do them less frequently. So when they're around, they feel like more of a big deal. So, when fans are there...
That's where I think then do a two-nighter.
Yeah. And when fans are there, they often say, like, can you imagine, like, they don't do pay-per-views as regularly and you go and it's like 2 hours? I'm like, yeah, well, I understand. But, like, for a pay-per-view, I think 3 is probably grand. But AEW stretches to 4 and 5. And
well, the thing about it, like 2 hours is 6 20-minute matches. If you break it down logically, you know what I mean? And 20 minutes on a match should be more than enough time for anyone to get done what they need to get done.
20 minutes of matches and no breaks or nothing to cut it up. You know the way like people complain about WWE ads, but when there's a WB Shop ad on or something for Netflix, that you can say, okay, I can get a break, I can go toilet, I can get a beer. You can't really do that with AEW because it's just match, and there's no time to catch your breath in between. So that's another big. But saying that, I am looking forward to Double or Nothing. I hope it'll be a good show. Glad they're not doing it in Vegas this year because the Vegas crowds, I think the last year or two have been quite mediocre. Not really into too much, not having much energy. Maybe one shit moment and then they're flatlined for pretty much the rest of the show.
Yeah, and I suppose the problem there as well is you're not going to get that pull in that you get from WrestleMania where it's not like exclusively a Vegas crowd. You know what I mean? Whereas at least at WrestleMania, like Vegas crowd is probably such a small portion of the crowd. It doesn't become overbearing, if you like. Is Mariah May character not too similar to Tiffany Stratton for her join to WWE?
Not really, no.
She doesn't have to be on the same show.
No.
So,
but I know what you mean, but I don't think they're overly similar, to be honest. But we'll have to see. Evolution 2. I've heard that Evolution 2, they were going to do it on the day of a Saturday night main event they were planning. But now apparently they're pushing it to the Sunday.
When are they talking? It's July, isn't it?
I think so, but they're saying it could counter program with AEW All In Texas, which would not be a very good idea. Because I think the Saturday, there's a Saturday night's main event scheduled, and then the Sunday, they want to have the pay-per-view, but All In Texas that day. So there's no way they're going to... But then they culled a good amount of women's talent, so it feels a bit redundant. But we'll have to see. Evolution was a great show the first time. So hopefully
what would be your thoughts on Cargo versus Charlotte?
Oh, Drizzlers. Charlotte always steps up on pay-per-views. Jade is still a little bit green. But then I don't know if Jade's a babyface or a heel because she turned on Naomi. And Charlotte is very unlikable. So it'd be quite difficult to find who to cheer for.
Proceed with caution.
Yes.
There we go.
No, that's all right, I suppose.
Dano's in. Big up, Dano. How are you, pal? Good
story boys. Right, Dano.
Dano, if you get a chance later, give me a buzz after the podcast as well. We need to have a chat, pal. Don't really like Gabe Kidd wearing new. We did that one. Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd, Forbidden Door, pay-per-view August in London. I'm not upset at that at all.
Don't know about that. The match at Wrestle Kingdom, or not Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, I think, was really, really good. I don't really have much desire to see them do it again because it wouldn't be as good. But I don't know. I might change my mind on it close to time.
Read an article today from someone inside AEW claiming WWE copying the Don Callis family with the new Heyman Alliance. Thoughts, lads?
No. So by that logic, every single heel stable copied the Don Callis family. Who wrote that? Oh, someone inside AEW. Well, yeah, that's like.
Well, it would be someone inside AEW.
Yeah, obviously.
Then it makes total sense. But I mean, there was heel stables long before there was the Don Callis family,
and there was Paul Heyman stables and alliances well before Don Callis family.
Yeah, Sean, 5 hours 50 minutes, full gear. Come on, Shadow's in. Big up, Rodney. How are you,
Mr. Kenobi? How do Sean? Just to ask you, 5 hours 50. Is that including the pre-show or is that just the main card? It's probably just the main card, isn't it?
It's hard to even know if they differentiate because, as you said, it just all flows into one. Like. You know,
I don't know.
It's weird.
But either way, that's a hair too long, I think.
AZM was the only reason I watched the AEW show. There you go.
Not even
Jade versus Charlotte. That'll be my beer run at the shops.
And mine.
That's probably going to be the main event. That it is. I would imagine.
It have to be surprised. Would it not be a title match?
You would think. Jade versus Charlotte. We have to get a title on someone then, don't we?
I don't want it to be on Charlotte, but she's the only one I can see.
Well, she's going to have to lead this match, isn't she? She's going to have to take this match by the hand. Being the way more experienced. Don Callis family was better, to be fair.
Well, you say was better. Seth's group haven't even been around. How long ago was Mania? Like 3-4 weeks? Yeah,
you have to let it ferment a bit.
So not even a month, and you're saying, actually, I don't think they're quite. Just give them time. It's still a developing story. The network in ECW that Don Callis led was better than the Don Callis family.
Yeah, he said, including the pre-show. Oh, but I mean, the pre-show is the pre-show for them is what, about an hour, is it?
Hour or 2 hours, I think.
2 hours.
Is it?
Oh, I'm trying to think. You might be right. You might be right because we've seen quite a listing of matches on the pre-shows before we even get to the card.
Or it might be 1 hour, I think. I don't know, but regardless, it's. I rarely watch. If I'm watching with my brother, it feels like a party, so we always go from the start. But other than that, I wouldn't watch the Ran
Keith's
into
in.
Horseface.
Yeah.
Retires.
Retires and fucks off. My rant of the day, unless Goldberg pops up.
Mm.
Someone pop up Goldberg there, get him triggered. Jade in the ring is awful robotic. She is. But I mean, it's gonna take time.
But she's developing. It's not that I think she's robotic. I think she just struggles to have a match if the dance partner is not as.
Do you know what it is?
Good.
I think she has the moves down. I think she just hasn't got the transitions.
Yeah.
So what happens is with Jade, I think in the ring, I think you get a lot of really good high impact kind of moves, but she doesn't know how one move flows to the next move and how it all seamlessly flows. So she looks like a powerhouse, but it just feels just that little bit clunky because the move from this one to this one, and maybe part of it is learning the psychology of the business as well to make it flow a certain way and all. And I think that's the bit she probably just hasn't down. As a spectacle, she looks the absolute business.
Oh
and
yeah,
as
like
a powerhouse, she has the moves. But I just don't think it's like that. The transition from a headlock into a wrist lock. It's just not there. That just feels a little bit clunky, and because of that, it comes across that way that it's a bit robotic.
Yeah, that's chain wrestling 101. That's like your foundation. That's your engines if you don't have that. But I will say, I think compared to how she was when she started to how she is now, she's come leaps and bounds, and she's only going to get better. And all these things we're saying about her is nothing that I don't think can be fixed. But Bojack Horseman or Horseman? Was that meant to be a typo?
I think he wrote that properly.
Yeah. And he spelled it.
AW pre-shows are 2 hours and 3 matches on every pay-per-view.
Is it some? I think 3 or 4, but it's not much, and it shouldn't be because that's just the pre-show. And they are
2 hours.
Yeah, and they are still good, but it doesn't cut off the fat of the main card.
Yeah, hello Niall, how's it going? It's a real bummer what happened to Zoe Stark. Yeah, we'll come into it there now because we have it there. Yeah, really, really bad. Do you know what's disappointing as well? I think it's the other knee, isn't it? Because she had surgery on the other knee, didn't she? During COVID or something like that, or pre-COVID or something.
I think I heard, I heard a report that it was the same knee that she had previously been out of action for 8 months for.
Which knee did she do last night? Was it the left one?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, because then it is. Then you're right. It's the same one. Because when I seen her lying on the bed with the cast on the leg, it's the same one. So potentially the same one might have gone again. And if that's happened, then that's not good.
No, I really hope it's not the case. People are saying if it's as severe, then that could be it. That could be the end of her career. And
well, not known scientifically about knee injuries and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure how many times you can repair one.
Wrestling has taught me about injuries. If it's anything below the waist, they're probably dead. So anytime you see a knee or an ACL or anything like that, it's bad news. But it's just, if anything, just shows that wrestling is incredibly dangerous. Anything can go wrong at any point. It just takes one, and the fact that they got her out and Rhea and Kyrie were still able to have an exciting one-on-one match.
Yeah, and apart from the injury, great to see Kairi Sane back as well. Like she looked like a box. Yeah,
but unfortunately, the injury bug's a real thing, and hopefully Zoe Stark can get.
And you know what they did? They managed it in a very clever way where they went to a break, and when they came back, she had gone, and it was good in the way that they did it as well. You know what I mean? Because obviously an injury like that is rough as be damned. Yeah, should get Bret Hart to teach Jade about transitions from one move to the next. It's not a bad shout. Regal would be a good one as well. Any of the guys down the Performance Centre, the likes of Robbie Brookside would be brilliant for that. Yeah, and look, I'm sure she's working on it with people. Kendrick would be very good.
He's not still there though, is he? Brian Kendrick?
No, I think he's gone, isn't he? But normally, doesn't he have it? Doesn't he have something out West Coast where he takes people?
But I only know one of his alumni, and it speaks for itself. Eva Marie.
Yes.
So I don't know if
did he not do work with Ronda Rousey in the early stages before she came in as well?
I think he might have, but I think the reason Eva Marie got so much stick was because she was shit, but also because of who she trained with. Like Brian Kendrick is incredible, so I don't know, but no, it's nothing that she can't improve, and I think her headlocks and transitions are much better than mine if I was to get in the ring tomorrow. So, but I still think she's good. Kazuchika, a double nothing. Well, what's wrong with Okada and Speedball? It's great matches, surely.
I don't know. Styles. Interesting.
Striker and a Showman. But then
Yeah,
Speedball
but
can have good.
the pacing of an Okada match versus the pacing of a Mike Bailey match is.
I can see that, but we'll have to. Has that been confirmed, or is that just like what's in the pipeline?
A terrible booking. Well, I mean, it's this weekend, isn't it? So the card must be pretty much bar what has to come tonight or tomorrow night or whatever. The card must be pretty much done.
I think last week Okada came out to do something. Might have been last week, the week before, but Speedball kicked him away and chased him away. Okay. So I think that's where he's got that from. But let's see. But I like on paper that match sounds brilliant. So we'll have to see. But
yeah, they're not back in. Yeah, my thoughts as well, lads. AEW are literally clutching at straws now. Sooner the better. Mox drops the belt. He's becoming the Hogan of AEW. And to think he left WWE because of the shit he's pulling nowadays.
Do you think the most extreme he ever got in the WWE was the Ambrose Asylum match with Jericho where they did the thumbtack spot?
Yeah, but that's because everything else he tried to put together, everyone just said no. No.
And apparently when he wrestled Brock at Mania 32 in that street fight, Brock turned down pretty much like all of his ideas, and that's why that match ended up being really, really flat.
Get Triple H waxwork in the ring instead of Evolution 2. I'll enjoy that more for 3
Come on.
hours.
Evolution 1 was a great show. It had Becky and Charlotte in probably the match of the year at that point. Not women's match, full stop. But then that was kind of a make good because I think they had Saudi pay-per-view the week after and the women couldn't go at that stage. So they were like, oh, it was something for the women to do. Anyway, hope you watch Super Showdown or Crown Jewel, whatever it was. I don't know, but it was, yeah, shout out to Darby. Knowing him, I bet he thought of doing a coffin drop off the top. I still want to see either him or Jeff Hardy do a dive off the top of the spire. Every time I see it and I look up, my brain just goes, that would be.
Yeah, and it's weird, isn't it, Romy, with Zoe, because like she's a unit. She's built. You know what I mean? Like she's not some, skinny down chick kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's mad. Maybe it's the training might have weakened the joints or something like that. So
or just bumping all that time.
Yeah.
On your knees doesn't hurt, doesn't help them.
And probably when you're like the women's division as well, where a lot of them are so lean. So you're not carrying any sort of.
She just landed awkwardly off the thing, and it's a small mistake, but it can really, really cost you. So,
question for you guys: what's your thoughts on Raw lately? I've been finding it a bit boring, to be honest. There's been some decent matches, but I feel they're just going with the flow until the big pay-per-view pops up.
I kind of understand that, but saying that, I actually really enjoyed last night's episode. I thought the tag match in particular was with Judgment Bray, who actually won. Finn Balor is defeating those Finn Balor allegations. No, I understand what you mean. I think it's just because we have Saturday night's main event, which is inconsequential, and Money in the Bank so soon after. It's not really giving us a chance to breathe, and they don't want to do anything crazy. Especially because, like, Zoe Stark is an example of the injury bug being around. Anyone can get caught up. So, but like saying that, I don't think like it's unwatchable. Like I used to have to dread watching Raw, but now I'm fine with it. But we'll have to see. But I don't know about but I thought this is a pretty good episode.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's always going to be a certain amount of dampening down after Mania season as they build towards SummerSlam. Yeah. And there's a pattern that they have to go through to get to where they want to get to SummerSlam. And obviously they've Money in the Bank in there as well, and the Saturday night main events and all that kind of stuff. And obviously they've Evolution now as well. So they've a lot going on at the moment. If you look at WWE at the moment, their programming at the moment is insane. Insane. Like
much on.
Like we're here as fans. And for me to try and squeeze everything in, not to mention Evolve, and I have to say that was cool with Paul Heyman the other night as well. It was pretty. He got pretty emotional, I have to say. But yeah, I don't know. It's just there's certain elements of it that I still love. If you look at last night's episode okay, the kind of doubling up on the Jey Uso situation, building to the Logan Paul situation can be a little bit taxing. I'm still enjoying El Grande. I thought the match with Roxanne, I thought was excellent, and the way Valkyrie came in there as well, I thought it worked really, really well, and how they're pushing Roxanne Perez. We will talk about Money in the Bank as well, briefly and all, Braun Breaker doing his thing and stuff like that. Good to see Sheamus back as well against Grayson Waller. I thought it was decent as well. Like, there wasn't a whole lot to give out about. Like, it wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't a drizzle either.
Yeah,
you know
it
wasn't
wasn't bad.
Kind of what we expected into outside of Mania season.
But not every Raw is going to be a barn burner, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's very hard to do that as well because they've got so much talent, and it's like, and now they're trying to build. They have Money in the Bank qualifying matches as well, which kind of take a bit of time, and there's a lot going on there that they're trying to set out there in such a restricted time frame now as well. What do you reckon is next for Mariah May? I really think she's got more long-term potential for success in WWE. I think you could literally say that about any wrestler. Literally,
probably,
know what I mean?
They'll weasel her into the Judgment Day, probably.
Yeah. Just when we think like the likes of the Death Riders and the Judgment Day and all, they're going to go away. Next thing, these are adding people. Zoe will be the next to get cut. She's had no character development. She's playing like vanilla ice cream with no sprinkles.
I like vanilla ice cream, no sprinkles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she never really had much of character. She was always a bit weak on the mic. Like, do you remember that promo she did with Becky? I think when Becky was shooting at Trish.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're calling me like a phony? Have you ever looked in a mirror?" And you see Becky like I don't know about that. So yeah, but she's injured, and unfortunately, being on the injury list hasn't stopped WWE from getting rid of people before. And I heard WrestleTalk. I didn't pay attention to the full headline, but they said more releases are coming. Unfortunately,
it makes sense. I mean, they're out the door with people, like, you know what I mean. And look, if you're not going to use them, let them go out there, reinvent themselves, develop themselves, and maybe potentially come back. There's no point in holding them there ransom. I feel like there's too much content in WWE today. I don't know about that. Like, it's not that I'm not overloaded by it. Most of it I enjoy. Like, I'm enjoying LFG. I'm enjoying Evolve. I enjoy NXT. There's not a lot that I don't enjoy. It's just it's overloaded in terms of me trying to fit it into my week. You know what I mean? That's so than that. That's Stephanie's Places, I think, is really good. The new background documentaries is good. That should be good when it comes out and stuff. Like, there's a lot of good stuff there.
But the thing with the content is you can pick what you like, and not all of it is consequential. Like Raw and SmackDown, Evolve, kind of NXT, kind of. Stephanie's thing is just a podcast. You can watch that or listen to that anytime you want. But I can understand. But the thing is, like, people watch other wrestling and other sports that also factor. We're talking about Evolve. Dynamite is the same day. I think on Thursday's NXT, or not NXT, TNA. Friday SmackDown. Then Saturday WWE either have a show, Saturday Night's Main Event, or a pay-per-view.
And they all compete for your free time.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. UFC have pay-per-views. Like, there's something on pretty much every day. So if you watch it all, which I don't do because that'd be too much, but just pick and choose what you like. You can break it down. So like on Raw, you don't have to stay up until 4 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. You can watch it in the morning at your earliest convenience. Same with any of these things. And you can watch it. And when you're watching it the next day, you can skip through ads or skip through boring stuff that you don't want to see.
I'm just so addicted to the documentary stuff. I love the documentary stuff as well. So
I have a bunch of them on DVD. But you can you can cut the load, and you can it's like work. It's like studying. You wouldn't want to do like a whole load of work. You'd want to split it and work on that much. So if you split it up and watch the things you like, I think it's bearable. But there is too much. But it's not WB's fault. It's WB have their own thing, but then everything else has so much other stuff. So it adds on to it. So it's really...
I'm not too sure, Aces. I think he probably would have the idea of doing it, but I'm not sure whether you could do it up there. The air is so thin. I think you have to keep your mask on 100% of the time. But we'll see. 2-0 to City. Nice. Romy said Logan Paul is the Johnny Somali of WWE.
Johnny Somali.
There we go.
Is he that bad?
I don't think he's bad at all. Like I think for a go, I think I like what he does. I think he's good. This AAA pay-per-view before Money in the Bank pay-per-view going to be interesting viewing. It is going to be interesting viewing. Sure
I saw
is.
on the poster they have the WWE logo, the NXT logo, and the AAA logo. Does that mean that there could be some main roster involvement in this? Maybe people who aren't on the Money in the Bank card could be on the Worlds Collide card, or they could be on both cards or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be the way. There's been such a drive. Like obviously the AAA thing was planned for a while before we get to the end game, but obviously there was a huge focus on Lucha. We talk about it in WWE, with obviously Ray coming in and obviously Rey Mysterio in there and Penta coming in and the stuff they're doing with Chad Gable and all. So there's a huge Lucha drive in there to get you kind of hooked, and then it flows lovely into AAA. Then I'd say so it's going to be interesting. So welcome to the chat, my friend. Hope you're all good.
Is that climbing? Looks like he's climbing a mountain.
Yeah, could be. And a great show as well.
Just like Darby Allin.
There we go. We pop it up one more time. Pop it up one more time. There we go. It's not the most views though, fair enough. Yeah, so what give us a breakdown, Raw. What did you think of Raw and stuff like that and all? Great to see Finn Balor and JD picking up the win. Especially against AJ and Penta, so.
They picked up the win and they had a really, really good match that got a lot of time. Went through 2 ad breaks. It's absolutely brilliant. And the boys looked great. I'll always love seeing, especially the 2 lads from Bray win, because Christ knows they don't do that very often on the main roster. Now, it did come with El Grande Americano interference. But that's fine. It's not cheating if you don't get caught, right?
I was waiting for the Twitter as well, the Pinta.
Penta, yeah.
Twitter again.
I don't think we're at that stage just yet with Penta. But AJ looked great as well. He legit looks like exactly the same as he did years ago. Hasn't slowed down at all. Is still absolutely incredibly capable of putting on great performances, as shown here. We know he works well with Finn. I thought he worked really well with JD. I don't think they've ever met before in an in-ring capacity. So I think that looked really good. No, wonderful to see the boys. They didn't get any pop though, because they have that awful new Def Rebel theme. So I think that's something that needs to change. But no, they looked really good. Some interesting developments. Dominic was not out there with them. I think Finn faced AJ last week and he wasn't there either. It's just the second time in 2 weeks that Dominic is not accompanied to the Judgment Day.
Interesting.
So that's an interesting thing to note. But there's more Judgment Day shenanigans later on the show. They were celebrating backstage, and then Finn came back with Roxanne Perez. And the whole thing is that Finn was flipping his shit when JD was out. Dominic kept trying to talk about adding new people, and he said absolutely no new members. And now he was resisting Dominic adding new members, and now he's trying to add new people in. So that makes me think he's trying to kick out Liv or get Dominic out.
And they were saying Liv's due back shortly as well, isn't she? Hasn't the filming finished?
I thought she was meant to be back last night.
Yeah.
But I'd say very soon. I'd expect maybe next week or the week later.
Is Asuka due back soon? I think did she make an appearance last week on something or on some video thing or something like that?
I can't remember.
She must be at this stage anyway.
Oh yeah, hopefully she's been gone a little while.
UFC 316 versus Money in the Bank on Saturday, 7th of June.
Yeah, well, Money in the Bank's at midnight and UFC's at 3. Who's headlining that actually? Oh, that's I think it's Sean O'Malley and Marab Davishvili. Marab, the Valishvili, I think. I butchered that, but Marab, the guy who beat him for the title.
The guy with Philly on the end of his name.
Yes.
There we go.
Sure, he's my favorite.
What did you think of LFG final episode? I'm glad Jasper. I hadn't watched it, but that's all right. That's okay.
No,
that's okay.
I wanted BJ Ray to win just to see what would happen.
That was never gonna happen.
I thought he was going to be the Daniel Puder of the series.
Oh God,
number 3 in the Rumble and Braun Breaker and. Sheamus are in there or something.
We're nearly heading towards like a Bubba Ray Dudley versus BJ Ray NXT match or something like that, aren't we?
I could see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get that Daniel Puder treatment, then they absolutely beat the bejesus out of him. Main event.
Poor Daniel Puder.
Just for one, it looks like a ready-made main event guy. He looks the part, all right. I wasn't excited about Tyra winning it, but I enjoyed the whole show overall. Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was put together in a kind of a watchable way, more so than tough enough at times.
Yeah, Tough Enough
was like a bit of a grind. Yeah, Sheamus, Baron Grayson Waller was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and the fact that the crowd started chanting Austin Theory was incredible.
Yeah.
That was the last time that happened. Or when did that happen, actually? Not the last time. Has it ever happened? Has there ever been anyone going to a show saying, I'd love to see Austin Theory?
Roll me, I seen this video. Did you see this video, Sean? This Velveteen Dream one?
Yeah,
he's talking about ruining wrestling properly or something like that, that he has so many stories about people and all this kind of stuff. This is pro wrestling's Diddy answer, isn't it?
It's like John Cena. John Cena says he's going to ruin wrestling, but Velveteen Dream might actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Big win for Roxanne Perez as well. I thought that was really cool, especially against the likes of Becky and Natalia. Obviously, Becky being jumped by Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, Becky and Roxanne had great chemistry. And Natalia was there to occasionally lock in a sharpshooter whenever she was needed. She was actually at the Crockett Cup, the NWA Crockett Cup on Saturday, I think.
That's right, yeah.
I didn't know NWA had those connections, or maybe
I think WWE is becoming more open to working with people and stuff like that. And I think it makes sense. She had an altercation with a fan as well at it, didn't she? Did she give a fan a clatter or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a work or not. I don't really keep up with NWA. I only keep up with I watched Billy Corgan made a documentary called Adventures in Carneyland. It's about him running the NWA. Yeah. So I have most of my knowledge of it from there. But yeah, it could be because they're open, or it could be they forgot she was on the payroll. They didn't even know that she went to NWA. They probably have forgot about Bloodsport already. But it's cool to see that that they can pop up in other places.
Sean, as a child, I enjoyed it, but how bad was that Raw GM error in 2010?
I was the same. I loved it as a kid, but now it's... And one of the worst thing, the anonymous GM interfered at WrestleMania, which really solidified the point that a Raw match main event at WrestleMania 27. It was very bad.
And you know something, Romy? Chad Gable will probably be okay with that. He's just you'll feed him out and you want, and he'll make
Shorty G.
Yeah. JD's forehead will give Rihanna's forehead a run for its money.
It's not as big as JD's head. Come on, now.
Imagine if they had babies.
God, imagine that head.
You're leveling up with those cone heads or something like that. We need to see Gable versus Charlie Haas dream match.
Is Charlie Haas still wrestling?
Don't think so. I wouldn't have thought so.
It's probably not.
Wouldn't have thought so.
In another world, that would have been great.
Yeah, Penta has looked great since coming into WWE. I think they weren't expecting to get Phoenix this soon, so they've struggled to book him as well.
No. Yeah, no, that's reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think we were under the illusion that I think Tony Khan made him add another year or two to his contract because at the time he missed with injury. So it was like we weren't going to get him for 2 years, but I'm glad we did. I'm glad we have him now.
Yeah, and I think, look, when he was thrust into that match at Mania, he did a real good job, let's be honest.
At the very, very, very last minute. 24
hours notice. So pretty cool. It's also a bummer that Ray got injured at Mania. There we go, so we're talking about it. But of course, they foolishly had an old man get injured in a match he really didn't need to do.
What man?
Yeah.
Old man.
This is Rey Mysterio.
He's not old. Come on. Why are you calling him an old man like he's nothing?
Well, within the business, he's a veteran, I would say.
Yeah, that's a much nicer way.
I think most people would still donate an organ for his physique and stuff like that, but still, give Cross and Bliss the Money in the Bank wins.
I agree with Cross. Is he in any qualifier matches?
I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, I don't know. Interesting, though. Interesting. Wouldn't be against it. Good for Phoenix to get a Mania match so early, though, at least, yeah. And perform. And perform.
Billy Corbin. God. That'd be his name in the Impact Zone.
There you go.
Killy
Joe
Borgen.
Janela getting in some hot water for the Seville match. He's reading my minds here, folks. I have the slides. Jey Uso defeating Braun Breaker by disqualification and then getting the beat down off Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm. It just made me more excited for the tag match at Saturday night's main event.
Do you see the World Heavyweight belt finding its way to Logan Paul eventually?
God,
sorry to spring that on you.
No, there's two parts of me. There's parts of me that doesn't want that, and parts of me that wants that. Just to see people flip their lid. I think I could definitely see him with a title, another title. I know he was US champion, but I could definitely see him with a title in the future. But the World Heavyweight Championship is literally the top of the company. Minus, well, John Cena, but on Raw anyway. As Raw's concerned, it's the top of the company. And I don't think they've reached that level of trust with Logan Paul just yet.
Yeah. I like that interaction backstage as well between Seth and Gunther. It's been a while.
It feels like they're making Gunther a babyface, though, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
If Logan joins Seth Group, I'm doing a Kermit the Frog offer. So sitting and playing the Rainbow Connection on a little banjo, presumably.
That's it.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, do that. It'd be great.
Possibly it could go to Logan Paul. He's quite a good wrestler and is learning quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think like this week go to him, but I think in the future. They no players now, Niall, he'll be facing Mr. Beast and I Show Speed in a triple threat match. Mania main event 1, if so.
Add Travis Scott and make it 4.
I was talking to Baz actually yesterday about the game, and they have the prime guy in the game, but they don't call him I Show Speed. so they obviously didn't have to pay him, man. He's just the prime guy.
Is it not KSI? I think it's KSI.
It was KSI, but wasn't it the last one? It was I Show Speed, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
wasn't he in the gear?
But I think the one in the game is meant to be KSI. But
yeah, they don't want to pay anyone.
No,
I could see Logan joining the Rollins group. That'd be interesting. Cena versus R-Truth will be comedy gold, I reckon. Not sure if it's for the world title though.
No, it's a non-title match. They said that on Raw.
Which kind of makes sense. Shopkeeper, how many posters do you want?
You're talking about my background, yeah. This is magazines and printouts. And those are badges and then stickers, and I have more over here. So these are posters of all the shows I've gone to, OTT shows. That's my Smashing Pumpkins poster there that I got when I saw them. And then I went on Pro Wrestling Tees and looked up graphics and printed them out to make it look like Ickle posters. And I have a few more, my 8x10s. If you can, if you can see, are over there.
And one or two DVDs.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're not even my wrestling DVDs, you know. They're just they're my non-wrestling DVDs.
Yeah, we were going along grand, weren't we? Until Travis Scott came into the conversation. Looks like someone did.
He's a bad omen.
Yeah, pass around like a spliff. Why is it non-title to make it less predictable? I think it's a credibility thing, really, more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, sorry about that. I just had to close my wardrobe so I can show off my my DVDs.
The rest of them.
Yeah, and I have a little cabinet with the ones I can't fit in.
Travis Scott's like someone Diddy would use as a dildo, right? You know. Let's see what comes out. Let's move in. The boys, they spoke about it before we have a look at Saturday night's main event and a few other things. Let's talk about Sabu again. I know last week's show was very, very emotional for us. Very, very sad, obviously, his passing and stuff like that. But there's been a lot has come out since then because a lot of people are wondering about the cause of death and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, for me, really, it's no one's business, although as fans, people like to know and stuff like that and all. But there has been a lot of mudslinging since it, isn't there, with GCW and Joey Janela and various other things, stuff like that. What's your take on what came out this week with the information that we've had? And
yeah, well, the first thing I will say is I think insinuating that Joey Janela Brett Lauderdale or GCW killed Sabu. Like they're the ones that did it. I think that's absolutely fucking ridiculous and incredibly disrespectful. I do think, yeah, as it says about Cradham, his team gave him that, and apparently he's been taking that daily for like 20 years. Mary Janae's background minus the Union Jack. Yeah, I don't have any flags here. I have everything but a Union Jack on this wall. Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that. It's bad enough when you come in, you see the wrestling posters, then the DVDs, then the CDs, then the Bears, and then
it's bad enough he has lads like the Kings of the North on the wall, probably on a poster. There you go.
I don't have them actually. They were scum of the earth back in my day. My brother does though. He has a in his old room. He has an 8x10 at the bricks. I do like Kings of the North though. I have real teams like you can see there, the lads from the flats, Martin and Worky. That's the real shit. And I have posters of like all the shows I've gone to, and I have 8x10s. Corvin's always been nothing but horrible and hostile to me, but I've always asked him. But I've always came up to him wearing t-shirts of the guy he's wrestling that night, so I can understand.
Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry, I'm getting carried away with Sabu.
No problem.
I don't know. I think him wrestling at his age was ill-advised. I thought him having a barbed wire match was ill-advised. I think some of the bumps he took were insane, and I didn't realize that he got knocked out and only woke back up when he heard Enter Sandman. So that's scary, but I don't think it was a disservice. Brett Lauderdale has in the past pulled people from shows and pulled matches literally seconds before they're meant to go out because of them being under the influence of drugs or alcohol or not being fit or anything like that. Yeah, but it's just a shock, and I can understand why people. I would say I don't think this killed him, but I don't think it helped either. So I can understand people saying
they search for an answer to the question, don't they, people? And they want. It's nearly like they're looking for closure, and they want to take. They want to pin it on someone, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know.
I think it's one of the few things Jim Cornette says is one of the few things Joey Janela has been accused of that he didn't actually do. Yeah. But I still think the match was good. And like Joey Janela, I know his intentions were good. All he wanted was one final epic Sabu match. So Sabu can go out and a main event of his own GCW show. But I think it was really, really good. There's like, and with GCW, I was watching their Hammerstein show. Ali Catch broke her leg 2 minutes into the match, and the match got stopped then and there. So it's not like they're above stopping matches because of injuries. I think if Sabu, he got concussed, but if he was genuinely like fucked, I think they would have stopped the match.
Yeah, as far as we know from what we heard, and we don't know whether it's true or not, because like no one was there, but apparently it was his own people that gave him the kratom. Is that right from what we've heard?
I think so. Like, yeah. And I think Brett Lauderdale said that he's taken that drug. It's not even a drug. Like, it's something you get at a smoke shop daily for like 20 years. So it's not like he wasn't feeling well and they shoved drugs in his face and then sent him out to wrestle. Yeah. It's not like Sandman wrestling Sabu on acid that one time. You know, it's...
Yeah, and I mean, look, to turn around and say that Sabu was not on the planet, I mean...
Yeah.
How far back in his career do you go back, like, you know?
But then again, I'm not saying it would have made it okay, but that show was sold on Sabu's last match. So if that got pulled and we didn't know the reasons until now, people would have been fuming.
Yeah. I think a lot of this, and look, we don't know the detail, obviously, but I think a lot of this is people kind of grieving, fans kind of grieving at the moment, looking for a reason. They've lost their guy, and we get it. We spoke so fondly about him last week and all stuff like that. And we were all emotionally upset when we heard he had passed away and stuff like that and all. But I just think it's a bit early to be launching the Stewart's inquiry, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and because of that, people are hurting, and it's tender and stuff like that and all, and I think it's something that has to be digested first before we find out what comes out of it. But the finger pointing and the finger wagging is always a bit out there. You know, it comes sometimes a bit too quick. You know.
Yeah, I would like to think better of GCW and Joey Janela, and I do, because as I said, there's been times where they pulled people for matches literally seconds before they've gone out because of getting injured or not being in the right state of mind. So I don't know. I understand people are upset about Sabu dying. I was as heartbroken as anyone. I poured my heart out last week when I got the chance to speak about him, but I don't think pointing the fingers at Janela or GCW is the way to go. And I don't think Sabu would point the fingers at them either if he was still around. So I don't know, but it's a bit of a murky situation. Yeah, slapping Enzo back in the day at a Blink 182 concert. I remember Jim Cornette heard about that and he said, "Who's Blink 182?" And then I told my friend, and he's like, "Blink 182 are still touring." He wasn't like, "Oh my god, Enzo and Joey Janela." He's like, "Wait, Blink 182 are still a thing?" Like, yeah. It just seemed like drunken shenanigans. I don't know. I don't know if it was like serious.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep an eye on this and see how it develops and stuff like that. Because obviously, I read today as well that I think his partner, who's back in Japan, I think it is, because they never legally separated, she's actually regarded as the next of kin. So she has the decision to make in relation to releasing the information and the autopsy and the cause of death and stuff like that. You know, so we'll see where it goes and stuff.
Imagine
like that.
doing an autopsy in Sabu and you just get loads of super glue and barbed wire and metal and
just insane.
It'd be fascinating, wouldn't
it? Yeah, absolutely. But we shall see. 12 years ago today, the Shield captured gold for the first time.
Wow.
In WWE. There you go. 12 years ago, folks. 12 years ago. Give me your thoughts. There we go. Because we were talking about Ambrose earlier.
I would have been 9 years old at the time. Jesus Christ, I feel so old now.
9 years old?
Yeah.
I would have been 41.
Okay, so you probably remember it quite well.
I remember it pretty well, yeah. 15,
you're not saying,
wow.
You're not like, oh my God, I'm only 15. My God.
Yeah. 15.
That's mad. Yeah. No, it's they were very much a thing in the past, and it's a very, I know the period of that time wasn't very good, but I'm always very nostalgic for that period. Yeah, they defeated Team Hell No. Yeah, Seth and Rowan defeated Team Hell No, and then Kofi won the US title.
Yes.
And that was the first night that they all held gold, but the night they all held one title was Money in the Bank 2015, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so the main event was Reigns defending against Ambrose. So Reigns went in holding the belt. Ambrose won, becoming the new champion, and then Dean Ambrose cashed in. Or no, Reigns defended against Rollins. Rollins won, then Ambrose cashed in.
Yes.
So the Shield all held WWE title on the same night, which is...
Roll me, wrestling aging me like Ricky Morton. So I'm expecting you to walk into the shop in August, roll me with a mullet and and a fringe and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I thought I'd put it out there. Do you ever think they'll ever get back together again? Do you ever think we'll get a Shield reunion?
Maybe not a wrestling one. I could definitely see them all being in a bar at the same time or something.
Or at a WrestleCon when they're finished with WWE or something like that.
Yeah, but I'd love them to be under the same roof. I don't really care if it's for a match or not. I think we have to accept that's kind of past. Because they had this big thing, the Shield's final chapter, and the Shield having that big last match at Fastlane. And I'm not sure what the relationship is with Moxley and WWE.
I'd love to sit them down individually and ask them how do they feel each other's getting on, kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, I think that would be nice, but we'll have to see.
A mullet and licking my gums every 2 minutes like I was just on the packet like Morton's was at the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, he's very licky, wasn't
he? Yeah, absolutely.
Like a dog.
Right, Saturday night's main event. Give us your predictions.
John Cena by ruining wrestling.
Okay.
Jey Uso by yeeting Yeeting, yeet, 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 yeet. You look, you're getting tired now. Imagine how I feel. Yeet, 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 yeet.
Mm.
I think Logan Paul will land one lucky punch or something. I don't know. Seth Rollins' new group that has nothing to do with the Don Callis family. What a weird suggestion that is. I mean, you'd want to be in AEW to come up with something like that. They'll win.
And they were.
Yeah. Yeah, so I could see them winning.
I'm not sure about Sammy turning on Punk. We'll have to see. And then
Give your predictions, folks, in the chat as well.
Sammy turning. I could see it. I don't know though.
Does he turn heel on? Does he turn heel on Punk and then join Seth's group, or just turn heel on Punk? I think the only way he turns heel is if he joins the group.
You often feel Sammy just slides into these factions when he turns, don't you? Yeah. Be a bad month for Punk, wouldn't it? Loses Heyman and then losing Sammy.
Oh,
life ain't good at the moment for the Punk star if that happens.
Might have to leave again.
Yeah. I suppose out of all the matches, are we looking forward to mostly McIntyre Priest cage match?
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it's not a card that totally has me like off my head excited. But that'll be worst,
though. It's not the worst.
No, it's. I think it's much better than the first Saturday Night's Main Event. I think Saturday Night's Main Event has improved the more they've done it. So
he's proper fucking homeless, isn't he, Romy? He's proper homeless looking. It's mad. It's
he
crazy.
Won't. Guarantee you won't.
Crazy.
I love Sami Zayn.
Do you reckon Sami Zayn still has his money from his first pay-per-view payout in WWE?
Probably. Do you think he's like Andy Kaufman, where he had all those checks from Vince Senior, instead of cashing them, he just put them on his wall?
Yeah, something like that. No, I'd say Sammy had definitely cashed them, that's for sure. Cody Rhodes attacking both Cena and R-Truth.
Why would he attack R-Truth? He's not done anything to him, has he?
Wouldn't be R-Truth. You'd have Cody coming out, maybe it's kind of saving R-Truth, maybe. Or something like that.
And then turning on, selling his soul to John Cena.
Dino's going with Cena, Jay, Rollins and Braun and Priest.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thinking as well.
Yeah, I have to say. Both boys' entrances at Mania were excellent. Sean's in, he's going with Jay Uso to beat Logan Paul, CM Punk and Sammy winning.
Really? Punk and Sammy winning.
And then Sammy turns and Punk gets the beatdown.
God, that'd be sad. Yeah, I think no matter. So the consensus is win, lose, or draw. Sammy's turning on Punk.
Yeah. Originally, I was kind of thinking this whole Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest thing is kind of ran its course a little bit, but it's kind of invigorated me since Mania and stuff like that and all, you know. So I'm in on it again.
The weapons matches are always fun, but if it was any other match, any other stipulation, I probably wouldn't be.
Now, Romy, does he shop at Primark or does he beg outside it?
I get good stuff at Primark. I got glasses and a charger, and I got like Wu-Tang Clan gear that I still wear. So Primark's all right. Come on. And they do cheap clothes, but good cheap clothes. Sami Zayn doesn't wear any good clothes.
Yeah. Get Sammy a Parker, some Adidas shoes. He'll look good. Yeah,
Sammy from the flats.
He'd look like something out of Green Street Hooligans or something like that.
Oh God, yeah.
Rise of the Foot Soldier.
That'd be a great gimmick, wouldn't it? A football hooligan.
Yeah, it probably looks the part as well. You know, disgruntled ice hockey fan or something like that. Yeah, Saturday night's main event this Saturday. I just like Saturday night's main event because I just the nostalgia of the logo and the music and all that kind of thing. You know, that drags me in.
Do you think we'll have Mean Gene back?
Maybe the baby version in AI. You know, the one that's on TikTok these days looks pretty cool. You liking those baby ones? I think they're awesome. I
don't know. They freak me out a little bit.
What was I watching the other day? The Mega Maniacs. Wow.
Oh God.
Crazy. And they had the Road Warriors as well. Insane. But they're fun. They are fun. Yeah.
I'm only bringing up Jesse Ventura because they said that McAfee and Cole are going to be doing commentary.
Sammy looks like Scruffy Phil Schofield on that island.
No, he doesn't. Come on. God.
Yeah. He does look kind of homeless, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think just saying he looks homeless probably would have cut it. Not that he looks like Philip Schofield.
Yeah, absolutely. Money in the Bank shaping up okay for you?
Yeah, so far so good. Obviously Solo's only qualified for the men's at the minute. I think there's more matches, qualifying matches on
Friday,
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there'll probably be some on Monday.
Mm.
But no, good looking card so far. I'm just wondering what else they're gonna have. And I wonder if we'll have any tragedies, because last Money in the Bank, John Cena announced his retirement and Drew McIntyre failed to cash in. So it was not a night to celebrate. So I'm wondering if they'll do anything here. And Cody, I don't know if he's on the poster because he's actually going to be there, or if they're just advertising him.
Yeah, he does actually, doesn't he, Romy? Looks very much so. Gilmore's caddy and
What you call him? Carl Weathers, I think, wasn't it? Was that his name? The guy who was. I haven't seen Happy Gilmore in a little while, so I'm probably thinking of someone else. But
possibly.
yeah, jackass.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's take a little bit of history.
Okay, how what's the vibe on the history this month or this week?
The vibe is interesting. We have a little bit of sadness. There's a little bit in there. There's even a bit of Benoit made it onto the screen.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, so we're
bit of sadness, bit of Benoit. That's the train never being on the rails.
The man with the one shoe, the homeless lad. Yeah.
Sami Zayn has two shoes.
Just have holes in them. There we go.
Oh my god! But stop being mean, Sami Zayn. He's lovely and he's a great wrestler. And he says he loves the Irish people and that we're an incredibly empathetic group of people that he absolutely loves.
Triple A is over the horizon. Put the mask back on, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. God, imagine he gets injured and El Generico comes back.
Yeah, can you imagine?
he does the Cactus Jack thing event or Big Foley event in the Rumble more than once.
Could we get Chad Gable to do it?
Enter as Chad and then Americano.
Yeah, and then as El Generico or the El Generico.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be great. I'd love that.
Right, let's start at 2011. Randy Macho Man Savage sadly passed away at the age of 58 in Sonoma, Florida. Savage had suffered a heart attack while driving in his Jeep Wrangler, which tragically collided with a tree. And thank God nearly took his wife with him, but didn't. But yeah, very, 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 very sad. And of course, always over my shoulder, always thinking about him there, Macho Man with the Slim Jims. I got the Slim Jims in it and everything and off, so never too far away. And the Slim Jim Macho Man is there on the shelf as well, as you can see.
Oh yeah, I see it behind the jersey.
2001, and one of the most famous and best bouts in Monday Night Raw history. See if you agree or disagree with this. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit defeated the two-man power trip, Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. During the bout was the one where Triple H suffered a quad tear that would keep him out of action until January 2002. What a comeback.
Didn't he tear that on the announce table? He was trying to do a pedigree, but the table collapsed early.
No,
that was another time.
Didn't he tear it when he went in? Didn't he go in to do a clothesline or something like that? And he stumped it in the canvas or something, and jarred it or something.
I just knew he tore his quad that way before. I couldn't remember which is which. But no, I remember Chris Jericho and Chris were a really good tag team. I think Chris and Jericho. Yeah, the two Chris's. Chris Benoit Chris Jericho and were my favorite team. Just redacted. Every time I say Chris Benoit, my mic gets cut out.
Absolutely. Gets muted. 2011, Sinclair Broadcasting, one of the largest media companies in the USA. I'm not sure where that's true or not. Announced they had purchased Ring of Honor. There we go. Jim Cornette has interesting thoughts on that, doesn't he?
Yeah. Every time I think of Sinclair, I think of Titus Sinclair from Ready to Rumble. He's the evil booker who tries to run Jimmy King out of WCW.
When I hear Sinclair, I think of, remember that automobile kind of small thing from years and years ago?
Yeah.
The ZX Sinclair or something like that. Was there something like that?
I think so, yeah. I also think of Jerry the Saint Sinclair from Phoenix Nights.
Yeah.
You compare without compare. Jerry the Saint Sinclair. Absolutely tremendous.
My mum is Irish and said if she met Sammy, she'd throw him £2 for a Greg's. There you go. Be a man, Hogan. There you go. He's asked me to stop him. I am.
Yeah.
I kept this picture in the shop long enough. We never got the Vinnie Jones versus Stone Cold match. I'm still ragging.
Was that actually
Jasmine-
meant to be a thing?
Jasmine Sinclair.
Hang on, was Vinnie Jones and Stone Cold actually a thing that was in the pipeline, or is that?
I have no idea, was it?
I
Probably
read.
was.
That sounds awful.
Vinnie Jones versus Stone Cold match.
Yeah, I read that as Vinnie Mac, and I'm like, they did have a match. They had a couple of matches, and
Yeah.
then
No,
I
he's
realized,
on
wait,
the-
no, Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie Jones, yeah.
That would
Vinnie
have been quite something.
Jones. Right, 1989, Lex Luger won the NWA United States Championship from Michael Hayes in Bluefield, West Virginia. This win kicked off 523-day reign for Luger, which still stands as a record today. There you go. To hype up the Condemned.
Oh
There
god,
we
so
go.
that was
There
meant
we
to
go.
happen.
Yes, there we go.
What, you know what else I heard, and it's, I think Johnny Knoxville denied this, but apparently at SummerSlam 2007, Umaga was meant to face the entire Jackass cast. But I think Knoxville, the rumor was Knoxville pulled out because the Benoit tragedy had just happened.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, good.
Steve-O or Wee Man getting flung around by Umaga.
Yes.
Pontius party boy in Umaga. That did actually happen. Yeah, I remember not Benoit, Chris Pontius and Steve-O went on Raw. Then Umaga came out and legit beat Steve-O into a blackout because they didn't tell Steve-O to sell. So every time he got wrecked, he was like sitting up and laughing. So he legit hit him with like an MMA stiffest elbow you've ever seen to the side of the head, and he blacked out, and he still wouldn't.
Yeah,
They didn't tell him that.
That was insane. 1999, during WWE's Over the Edge pay-per-view at the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, Owen Hart tragically fell to his death when
Oh
an
my
engine
God.
stunt went tragically wrong and led to Hart falling to his death from the rafters of the arena. Very, very sad. We always take stock of this. And you notice, have you seen the stories out there where people talk about that they feel a presence when they're there in the Kemper Arena and that there's been sightings and stuff and all.
Yeah, that's so fucked up. And I've heard a lot of people, wrestlers, when they do spots where they come on zip lines or do something like that, they always try and get Martha Hart's blessing.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice. But isn't it such a shame? It's such a waste of a life, someone so talented. And that is a really, really prime example of the show not needing to go on. They say the show must go on assuming someone gets sick or something. When someone literally dies, the show absolutely does not have to go on, and it's such a shame. And Owen Hart is such a loss, and I still miss it every day. Like
how difficult that must have been that day.
Mm.
Like, when you see Lawler there and you see JR, and imagine trying to bring your focus back to being a commentary team after that.
Yeah. I remember I saw a thing, it was like worst matches ever, and it was like Jeff Jarrett and the Cat against someone, and he's like, you probably don't recognize why that match is on there, and that's because it was the next match after Owen Hart. So Jeff Jarrett did a backstage promo and he was saying, "Oh, like, I love you, Owen, I hope you're okay," and they started talking about the Cat's puppies.
Yeah.
So going from that to that after someone's literally just died, and I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be in the arena.
And then after that match, he literally jumped into his car and went straight to the emergency room. Jeff Jarrett did.
Yeah,
very, very crazy.
Absolutely awful. Just the
worst. Right, we bring it up a little bit here for you.
Yeah, please.
One of your favorite pay-per-views, Over the Limit, 2010. WWE presented their Over the Limit pay-per-view from the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. In the main event, big match, John retained the WWE Championship against Batista in an I Quit match.
Oh yeah, that was great. I think.
There we go.
Was it? Yeah. Yeah, I do remember that. I think he handcuffed him or something.
Steve-O was on hard drugs during it, the legend.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but he's clean and sober now, so power to him.
Yeah.
But he was really bad.
He does a podcast himself now, doesn't it? And it's interesting.
Yeah, and he's had wrestlers on it. He had David Arquette. He's had Drew McIntyre. He's a big UFC fan, so he gets UFC people on. But him getting his shit fucked up by Umaga is incredible.
Yeah. Brett was in WCW at the time. Imagine getting told what happened backstage before the show. Brett, as far as I know, when it happened, was in the air, wasn't he? And Bischoff told him when he got off the plane. at the airport.
I think so, yeah.
From what I read or from what I can remember from the stories. 1999, the day after Owen's tragic death, of course, we got Raw Is On, which is just the most heartstring pulling episode of Raw you will ever watch. To see
haven't watched it, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think I'll make it through.
Yeah, no, I watched it all right. Yeah, I remember getting the copy of Over the Edge, but not the actual copy of Over the Edge, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
But I remember in it, I lent it to someone as well. But in it, they had a copy of the mass pamphlet from Owen's funeral.
Oh.
It was a copy of it, which was really cool, and I had it inside it, and I lent it to someone, and I can't remember who I lent it to, and I never got it back.
Oh.
So yeah,
Over. It sounds like a stupid question, but is that show like? It's obviously not on Netflix because they're missing out a lot of content. But is it on DVD? Because if I was to buy that, I wonder how they cut it.
Oh yeah, you don't. None of that is in it. None of that is in there at all.
But the nerves, I'd imagine, and the tension would still absolutely be there.
Absolutely, and what they'll do is they'll allude to what happened and stuff like that, and you'll see the footage and stuff like that. Not the footage of the fall, but the footage of the announcer's desk and all that kind of stuff. But it was just like to see Lawler and JR trying to cope with it and trying to figure out what's going on.
They always dress it up well, though. But can you imagine just watching that and they say Owen Hart has died, and you don't know who Owen Hart is, but you know someone's died, and the show runs on. That must be sus.
and then again in the crowd as well didn't get the commentary, so they wouldn't know. You know what I mean? They would be getting feed in and stuff like this. We're talking 1999.
There's no Twitter or anything, so you're not going to see someone watching at home tweeting stuff. So there's no way to check. So I can't even. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
The bloodstain, but also apparently there was a dent in the canvas.
Yeah.
So people would bump on it and it would feel like they'd fall down the side of a bed because there'd be such a dip. Like, that is fucked. But how high and how hard do you have to hit it? Because that's wood.
Yeah.
Wood and steel. And it dented. Yeah. But it's, I can't believe WB never really faced any true consequences for that. Like, it's such a shame. That's really brought the mood down. You weren't lying when you said this is going to be rough.
Well, I'm going to bring it up now because I have some notable birthdays.
Okay.
There you go. So we're going to start off with the man who's just returned, 1985, Alistair Black.
Hey.
Good to have him back as well. 1946, Andre the Giant.
Hey.
1982, Kota Ibushi.
Hey.
We got the Road Dogg, Brian James, 1969.
It's me, the D-O-double-G. I loved the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. D Generation X proudly presents to you the Road Dogg, Desi James, the Ass Man, Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws. They were so good. And great examples of being able to cover up your weaknesses with your strengths. Like he wasn't terrible in the ring, but he's nothing special. His microphone ability brought him well over.
Yeah, absolutely.
But his booking is not great, to be honest. I'd rather he just talk.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it down a little bit again now, though. Obviously, 1960, this is weird as well. 1967, Chris Benoit. 1964, Woman. 1952, Mr. T.
I pity the fool.
1962, Brian Pillman.
Oh my God.
I'm struggling here. 1981, Daniel Bryan. And this was like, this was digging deep.
That's good.
I'm going to bring it down again now to mood. 1987, one Bray Wyatt.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
But I'll bring it up again for you. 1983, Alex Shelley.
Okay.
And then I'm going to round it out with 1978, the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro.
All right, I'm being honest. I don't think we've ever had a more bleak history or Nova birthday section since we've been doing the show.
Sometimes these weeks just happen, don't
That
they?
is like a quadruple punch to the gut. Yeah, Benoit, Woman, then Brian Pillman, and then Bray Wyatt.
I've absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Stephen's in. Big up, Steve. How are you, my friend? Hope you are.
Yo.
Let me know, Stephen, as well. Have you picked up any more figures recently and stuff like that? Stephen's a figure collector. Tony Atlas' story about Andre at the restaurant with the Chinese girl under the table gets me laughing every time. I'm sure it does. Just watch Cena versus JBL Judgment Day 2005. The blood in that match was outrageous.
Oh, I think that's the biggest blade job Cena's ever done. I remember he was doing Make-A-Wish meet and greets before Elimination Chamber, and he asked this kid who looked no older than 7, "What's your favorite match that I've had?" And he said, "Your match with JBL Judgment Day." And he legit looked shocked. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with your parents showing you that? Like, how did you find that?" It's really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cena was a god. He still is. But I used to think the match with Brock was probably the biggest. Not even blade job. That was hard weight, but the most blood he'd ever shed. But my God, that was. He wasn't afraid to let go there.
You forgot me in the birthday section. When's the birthday? Tell us the birthday and we'll mention it, of course. You have to let us know. I'm not just going to randomly know your birthday. Like,
I think I'm birthdayed out after that lineup we just went through.
Yeah, well, Stephen would be okay. That'd be positive. Andre was a player. He got dessert with his steak dinner. He certainly did.
Nice.
Certainly did. Don't really like blood in wrestling. Yeah, it has its place.
It's unavoidable, though.
Yeah.
When it's that close contact, it's only a matter of time before something happens.
Nice. Just picked up the great Muda and Ron Simmons. Nice.
Damn. Literally.
Nice. Not too bad at all. Right, folks, that's it. We will be back next week. We'll have a review of Saturday night's main event, our usual recap on Raw. We'll try and get in there some AEW as well, Double or Nothing, of course. Busy weekend coming up and all, so we'll try and fit it in. Got Bulldog for a tenner recently. Nice.
A tenner?
Hasbro.
Jesus.
Loose, I would imagine. Definitely not boxed. Definitely loose. It's over there actually looking at me. There you go.
Tenner for Hasbro Bulldog sounds like a bargain.
Yeah, and you can get them. Sometimes you can be lucky and get them loose and stuff like that. Sometimes guys sell like a few of them, and it can be just in there. And when you price it out,
yeah, like just a box full of Hasbro figures.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're praying that the 1, 2, 3 kid and the Dusty Rhodes one is down the bottom still boxed, so you can retire.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone ask for a 1, 2, 3 kid figure.
Costs a fortune, the Hasbro one.
Yeah. It's mad.
Big bucks.
Would an X-Pac figure would probably be cheaper, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
than the bloody 1, 2, 3 kid.
There you go.
My God.
Yeah. Right, folks, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button and drop a like on the video. Universal just popped in there. Big up Universal. Hello, gentlemen.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
There you go. You just popped in at the end. You're going to have to watch it on the replay. There you go. Never mind. I only paid 40 for my 1, 2, 3 kit. Yeah, still. First time here. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, we're just coming to the end of the show, so if you want to watch on the replay, but we will be back. I'll be back tomorrow night with a watch-along for the Europa League final, so you're all welcome to join me on that. We'll have a bit of crack. Regardless of who wins, it'll be fun. You guys talking wrestling figures. We do. We talk wrestling figures. We talk a lot of stuff.
We have a few figure collectors in the chat, so I'd say hit them up if you want to.
eBay action in like 2009. Universal's in. I got a bunch of LGNs. Remember those? I do remember those. Very good.
I think they were a bit before my time. I'm afraid I only have.
I actually picked up a set of the Bulldog ones, the British Bulldog ones for Sean, who's in the chat there. He's to collect them in the near future. I got them for him. The old school ones, really, really cool. Auction. You got a bunch of Hasbros as well. Awesome. I love the Hasbros. A bunch of Hasbros here myself. Some really good stuff. So,
I just had the basics. Not the basics. The modern style figures. I never really outgrew them, and they're bringing old ones back. You can get an old John Cena or an old CM Punk, which is this one. I grabbed this one quite recently. Look at that, the old Nexus.
Cool. Sure, they're doing the. Have you seen the From the Vault series? That they're doing the old elites. They look really cool.
Yeah,
it's a Heyman one that's cool.
If they come closer in our shorts, we'll definitely be into grab one.
Yeah, I have a guy in the States who can do a bit of sourcing for me, so might have to hit him up soon and upgrade the collection a little bit. But some good stuff there, some cool stuff there. That's for sure. Right, folks. Talk to you tomorrow night if you're joining me for the watch along. If not, I'll be back on Thursday with Darren as well for Thursday Tier Talk. Me and Sean, no doubt, plus the other Sean potentially and Brian will be back next week for a bit of pro wrestling. I'm not sure whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday or not, but you'll see it up there. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you
We'll
get
figure it out. We'll be here no
uh,
matter what.
have a great day, guys. You too, my friend.
Thanks, Universal. Hope to see you
When
next
do
week.
your lives? My lives are Monday. We do football and we also do wrestling. So the football is normally Monday and Thursday, and the wrestling is normally either Tuesday or Wednesday. But if you drop a little subscribe, hit the bell notification on there, you'll get a notification anytime because we put the shows up pretty early enough in advance notice for people.
Yeah, check the live section, and when you go on the channel, there's like videos, playlists. Go to live, and you'll see it can be an upcoming event, and it'll be give you all you need, start time, details, anything like that. And you can actually set a notification so you know when we go live. And yeah, for sure, man, get involved in the conversation. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
I won't need another rage meter after the events of this week, but we'll have to see.
No, hopefully not.
Hopefully not. No.
So, folks,
and if I do, at least use a real picture of me.
Absolutely. So, folks, enjoy your week. Sean, pleasure as always. Cheers.
Thanks so much, Niall. Hopefully, everyone has a wonderful week, and see you same time next week.